Bridget Davis here, coming to you live from for the very last time. I'm a little bit emotional, from Bridget's kitchen. So it's a really special episode of our Q&A Friday today, because this is the last time that you're ever going to see me in this kitchen, because this kitchen is moving. And the reason why it's a special occasion, because this kitchen has been my home. It's been our home for the last, how long have we been here? For 4 years I've been in this kitchen. In those 4 years, I have created some of the most amazing dishes of my entire career. So it is a bittersweet moment to be saying goodbye to my kitchen, because this kitchen has so many memories. And I'm excited to move on to the next kitchen. Now, by the way, I'm not going off air. I'm literally moving kitchens. And I spoke about it in last Friday's Q&A. And I sort of let you guys know that we have decided, we took an amazing opportunity to improve all our systems with Bridget's kitchen, but also with our family as well. So bittersweet to say goodbye to this amazing kitchen. I mean, but I suppose it's like anything in life, you know, like wherever you are is where home is, right? So home can change. And it's the same with my kitchen. Wherever I am is where I'm cooking from, and it's my kitchen. And I've cooked in kitchens all over the world. I think about just in the last couple of years, you know, Bridget's kitchen has been in Hawaii. We had Bridget's little Hawaiian kitchen. I have cooked in the UK, in this beautiful little place called Warminster, which is about 2 hours out of London. That was Bridget's kitchen. I've cooked in a really small town in the Netherlands, in Holland, in this place called Apeldoorn. And that was Bridget's kitchen, and it was actually set up in a St. John's ambulance building that we took over for the day, and that was Bridget's kitchen. You know, I've cooked all over Australia. I've been in Perth, I've had a Bridget's kitchen in Adelaide, I've cooked in Queensland, I've cooked in Taree, you know, I've cooked all over Australia, I've cooked all over New Zealand. So it doesn't matter where Bridget is, it's always going to be Bridget's kitchen. But as I was saying, this is bittersweet, because I wrote and created and tested the recipes for 4 plus 1, that's why I had 5, 4 cookbooks plus 1 that's about to be launched in August, and they all came from here. So every single recipe that I have ever created started its life in this kitchen. So the recipes that you guys have and that you love in both my cookbooks, Bridget's Healthy Kitchen and More from Bridget's Healthy Kitchen, it all started here. This kitchen was used to create all those amazing recipes. So I suppose that's why it's quite bittersweet, because you know we started something amazing in this space, and the work does not stop. The work is going to not just continue, but you know what, guys, we're going to ramp it up, because once our book is launched in August, so Eat Your Way Slim and Healthy, which is the revised edition of the yellow book, Bridget's Healthy Kitchen, once that is released on August the 4th, everything's going to change for the good. So you're going to see even more of me around. I ain't going anywhere. I'm actually going to be multiplying, which is super exciting. So as we say goodbye to the kitchen, you can see I got packing boxes. We're in the midst of packing. We moved this weekend. As we say goodbye to Bridget's kitchen as this space, we're going to be saying hello to Bridget's new kitchen. So I can't wait to introduce you to my new kitchen. It's going to be, you know, more of the same, but only better, you know, all that sort of stuff. So it is a really exciting time for us. And I just, you know, I look forward to sharing that journey with you all. So, you know, if you're a first-time watcher, you're probably going, what's all this nonsense? What's going on? Just know that we're going to continue our mantra of creating healthy, delicious, easy, simple recipes. They're going to help to heal our gut, help us to lose weight, help to cure us of our different ailments. And we're going to keep on going. So it's all very, 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 very exciting. Exciting times ahead. Busy, but exciting times ahead. So Q&A Fridays today. Really, really exciting episode. I have been doing a lot of research into complementary things that we need to be mindful of and to do, that not only improves our health, but actually turbocharges it. So one of the bits of research that I kept on coming back to and kept on coming back to, and this is not the first time I've talked about it, but today we're just going to focus on that in this Q&A Friday. If you get this right, this, I'm calling it a health hack, but it's actually, it is health. This is the key, the cornerstone or the key element to staying healthy. If you get this right, this aspect is more important than diet and exercise. And you know, we've always been told, well, we used to be told that, you know, if you're not exercising, you're not losing weight, you're not getting healthy. And obviously we know if you're not eating well, you're not getting healthy as well. But this key component that we're going to discuss today is even more important than those two elements. So if you're not getting this right, you will definitely know about it as soon as I say what this is. And the key hack to being healthy and being, you know, obviously looking after your weight is all part of that. The key hack is, the number one thing is sleep. And that's why I say that it's one of those things that we pretty much all do, right? 99.9% of us sleep. There is the unfortunate people who don't get enough quality sleep because they have certain conditions that prevent them from getting that quality sleep. But 99.9% of us, we sleep. We have to sleep. It's our body's way of regenerating. But how many of us are actually doing it right? And you're like, what are you talking about? Did you know that there's a right and a wrong way to sleep? And if you get it right, your health will improve dramatically. If you're already currently getting it right, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I always thought, you know, especially being a chef, and I used to work like 120 hours a week, which is ridiculous. You know, as a mum, you know, as a wife, as a business owner, I put all my energies into working, thinking, you know, I'll sleep when I'm dead used to be my mantra. You know, sleep is for wimps. And after doing this research into my healthy lifestyle, not only have I realized that sleep is definitely not for wimps. Sleep is the most important thing that we can do to make sure that we maintain a healthy metabolism, but also a healthy outlook. Everything depends on the quality of sleep that we're getting. Crazy, right? In fact, now here is a bold statement. But it's backed up with multiple research. Lots and lots of sleep studies have been done. That people who are well rested, so I'm not just talking about getting lots of sleep, but it's the quality of sleep. People who are well rested burn 55% more fat than people who aren't sleeping properly. Crazy, right? Think about that. The simple act of sleeping well, you will burn 55% more fat than those who don't. The importance of sleep it's ridiculous, and that's why there's so many studies being done on it, because it is that important. So I'm just going to get comfy because I've got some lists, and if you want to grab some, look at my list. If you want to grab some paper, please feel free to do so and to take some notes, because there are some really simple but very logical steps that you can take in order to make sure that your sleep is quality sleep. Because I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of you out there that sometimes you sleep so much, you're like, oh, I'm still tired, I think I overslept. You didn't oversleep, your sleep just wasn't quality sleep. So it's about understanding the difference between sleeping a lot, sleeping not a lot, and that space in between, which is that quality bit of sleep. So your sleep, this is something really, really cool. If you're not sleeping well, you're not healing well. And if we break apart that word health, what is health? Health basically means, if you break that word apart, it starts off with heal. And sleeping is our body's most important time to heal itself. And our body's so clever, it does know how to heal itself. But a lot of times we just don't actually give it enough space to do that. So when we're not sleeping well, we're not healing well. And when we're not healing well or sleeping well, what is happening is we're not able to get rid of the toxins that are building up in our body. Even the toxins during the day or the toxins during the week or the month or whatever it is. Sleep helps to restore our body in so many different ways. So how does sleep, how does it help? Like, what does it actually do? And the way that we're going to break that down is we're actually going to go into the science of what happens inside your body when you are sleeping or you're not sleeping. So basically, the science of it all, and I always go back to the science, this is not just, something that is being made up. This has been studied so much. There's so much research that you can find online when it comes to sleep. There are books dedicated to sleeping well because it's that important to our health. So what happens hormonally inside your body when we are going through that phase of sleeping? So the first thing is that when we are going into it, and I'm going to find my notes here. Right, where are we? Okay. When we're going to sleep, there's certain hormones that we need to be really mindful of, and almost like we need to protect them. So when we get enough quality sleep, what is happening is our body is producing the hormone known as melatonin. You've probably heard of this hormone, melatonin, before, but melatonin, basically it's like our sleepy hormone. It's what begins to get our body ready for sleep. And when we have enough melatonin production, we are obviously sleeping because that's what makes us tired. This makes, I feel a little bit tired now. That's your body producing melatonin. So melatonin is not only responsible, remember it's a hormone, so this is what's produced naturally in your body. Melatonin isn't just responsible for making you sleepy, melatonin does something else as well. This is really, really cool. You're gonna love this. Melatonin also helps your body use up the brown adipose tissue, which is your brown fat in your body. Now, brown fat is really, really important. It's the fat that is usually found around your organs, and it's actually a good fat to have, your brown adipose fat. And melatonin helps your body utilize the energy that is stored in that fat. Now, the reason, like, there's different types of fats in our body. There is white fat, beige fat, and brown fat. Now, the two that we're going to discuss today is probably the two more important ones, which is our white fat and our brown fat. So white fat is known as our visceral fat, and that's the stuff that kind of just sits under your skin, and it's the kind of the wobbly, jiggly, cellulite type of fat that nobody likes. It's not pleasant. So that's our white fat. But our brown fat, our adipose tissue, that is the fat that sits around our organs to protect our organs. It also helps to keep us warm as well, brown fat. And brown fat's good to have. Now, brown fat is made up of all this massive amounts of energy because it's got so much mitochondria in it. And mitochondria is basically like the energy power pack of your cells. And when your body is able to utilize that brown fat, you have this amazing surge of energy, because the reason why brown fat is brown is the melatonin, the mitochondria makes it brown because it's so full of mitochondria. And remember, mitochondria is the energy of our cells. So when we are able to access our brown adipose fat, and melatonin helps, your sleepy hormone helps. When you're able to get in there and start to utilize it, that brown fat helps us to burn the white fat, the visceral fat that nobody likes and nobody wants. Hence why, when you're sleeping well, you will burn 55% more of that visceral, disgusting fat because your hormone levels are nice and balanced, which is crazy. There's other reasons well, but that's one of them. So, hormonally, we're producing melatonin when we're sleeping well, when we're in a good sleeping cycle, really well rested. And melatonin, remember, will help to burn fat when you've got good levels of melatonin in your body. So that's the number one hormone that we're thinking of when it comes to sleep. The other thing that's happening when we're getting a lot of sleep is another hormone called leptin. Now, leptin is what tells us that we are full, that we are feeling sated, that we've actually eaten enough. And when we are sleeping well, our leptin hormone is produced in significant enough quantities that we are feeling just more satisfied, which is crazy, right? So we're producing melatonin, which makes us sleepy and helps us to burn fat. And we're also producing on appropriate enough levels of leptin, which keeps us feeling satisfied and not constantly looking for food. So those are two hormones that are really, really important when we're getting enough sleep. The opposite end of the spectrum, what happens when you're not getting enough sleep? Like, what is your body doing when you're actually sleep deprived, or your sleep is not quality sleep? What is actually happening hormonally? Well, first thing is you're not producing enough melatonin. So you're not even getting into that sleepy stage. And your body is not burning fat because we're not producing enough melatonin. We're not producing enough leptin. So when our leptin levels go down, remember that's the one that keeps us feeling satisfied, there is another hormone that goes up. And that hormone is called ghrelin, which is our hunger hormone. So it's so, hormones play such an amazingly important part when it comes to health. It is ridiculous. So when our leptin's down, our ghrelin goes up. And remember, the ghrelin is the one that makes you always feel hungry. It is literally the opposite of leptin. So our ghrelin levels go up, so we're feeling hungrier, so there's more chance of us actually eating more inappropriate foods or foods that or more of those certain foods, because your ghrelin has gone up and you're constantly looking for food because you haven't had enough sleep. This is all science. And the other hormone that we have to be mindful of when you don't get enough sleep is cortisol. And cortisol is our stress hormone. So when we are sleep deprived, when you are tired, when you haven't had that quality sleep, your cortisol or your stress levels go up as well. And when your cortisol levels are high, you become insulin resistant, which basically means, remember, insulin is another hormone, which basically means that all your fat burning capabilities have just literally been capped. They're at a stop. They no longer exist. Your stress levels are high, cortisol. Your insulin is resistant, so you're no longer in a fat burning mode. Your melatonin has gone down, which means that you're not even able to access that brown adipose fat. And your leptin levels are low and your ghrelin is up. So if we just think of this just purely from a weight loss perspective, purely sleep from a weight loss perspective, not getting enough sleep will halt your weight loss progress. It's as simple as that. It will stop because your hormones are imbalanced. It doesn't matter how well you're eating. It doesn't matter how much you are exercising, but if you're tired, you're probably not exercising very well at all because your fat burning capabilities have been halted. So if you find that you may have been eating really well and maybe you're getting enough movement and exercise but you've hit a plateau, this could be something that you really want to look into. The simple act of getting the right type of sleep, notice I didn't say amount, the right type of sleep, could be what you need to get you over that plateau, because you're beginning to balance your hormone levels. Your cortisol is down, your melatonin is up, your leptin is up, and we always want to get to that leptin because that makes us feel good. So that's what's happening hormonally. But not only are those things happening hormonally, but what else happens when we're not getting enough sleep, right? You feel like rubbish, let's be honest. You feel like crap. You feel like a hot mess. You feel like garbage. We all know what that's like. We all know what sleep deprivation is like when you wake up and you've just got brain fog. You're just like, I can't think. I'm so, your body is so focused on the fact that it hasn't recovered from yesterday's activities that that's all you can focus on. So we find that when we are sleep deprived and we feel like rubbish and our brain is all foggy and we're unnecessarily hungry. And when we're unnecessarily hungry, what our brain is telling us is, I need energy and I need it now. And the most easily accessible form of energy, that's some dandy chai, by the way. Most easily accessible form of energy that you can get it and get it quickly is to turn to starchy, sugary, fried, bad food. You think about all the foods that when you're just feeling off because you haven't slept very well, and you literally will open the fridge or open the pantry and your brain will hardwire you to want to grab the foods that's going to give them that instant energy hit because you're so lacking. And it wants to balance out your hormones. It's trying to, but unfortunately does a really poor job because all your brain is like, feed me, feed me, feed me. I'm tired, I need energy. Because your brain is the hungriest form. Your brain takes up most of your energy. Believe it or not. Not your body movement, it's your brain. And when your brain is crying out, it wants a quick fix. And those quick fix happen to be those carbs and starch and sugar and fat and fried and all the things that are just not good for us. So what can we do? What can we do? Because if you take all of that aside of what I'm talking about, I'm just talking about sleep, right? And we take it for granted. We just hop in bed and sleep. But imagine if you were able to optimize your sleep. If you're optimizing your sleep, you are optimizing your health. That's why I say it is so important. It is so incredibly important. It is the cornerstone. It is the key to being healthy. Because when we are sleeping and we're sleeping well, yes, we are balancing those wonderful hormones that I've discussed, that chemical reaction that goes inside your body. When you're sleeping well, you're balancing those hormones. But when you're sleeping well, your brain also goes through like a wash out cycle, and it detoxes itself, and it needs to do this on a daily basis. So your brain goes in, like I said, goes into this wash cycle, which is really, really important. So you want to definitely do that. You want to make sure that your brain is in the best possible position to get you through the next day. So that's one of the things that happens. The other thing that's really, really important that happens is our body just goes through digestion. So digestion takes up a lot of work as well. And when you're not sleeping, your body is not able to go through its own personal detox in the gut. So it's really important not just to balance our hormones, but it goes through this incredible restorative phase that can't happen when we're awake. These are phases that need to happen when our body is fully at rest. Our mind is still going, but our body is at rest. So sleep is important for our brain. Sleep is important for regenerating our digestive system for the next day, for the next onslaught of food that we put into it. Sleep is important to balance our hormones, but you just know how important sleep is, because just stop and think how you feel when you haven't had enough. How you feel when you honestly are sleep deprived. So it's not that I'm telling you guys something that you don't already know, but I think for me especially, I only found out recently this year how important sleep is, because I started to research. I started to look at the science, and then once I started to look at the science, I began to recognize my own patterns, and I began to recognize what I need and when I feel really, really good, and what makes me feel really, really good. Obviously, eating well makes me feel amazing. My energy levels are incredible. My mood swings are gone. All that sort of stuff makes so much sense. But also, when I combine eating well with sleeping well, I am unstoppable. I'm just on fire. And when I haven't slept well, I'm a hot mess. I feel like garbage. And I'm stopping and going, I've never really thought about it like that before. I've always taken sleep for granted. So this whole episode of Q&A is about us not taking sleep for granted, because it is so important to our overall health and well-being. So what can we do? What can we do? Let me put my notes in order, because I've got some really awesome little points that I think that that we can all start to go. There we go. That's that one there. So I'm just getting them in order. That one there. There we go. All right, they're in order now. They've got notes all over the place because I'm writing frantically, trying to get all this information down, because every time I stumble, I don't think it's stumble, I think the universe points me in the right directions. Every time I come across these types of research, I just think, if even one of us watching this benefits in some way from this information, it's massive. It's life transformative, it's life changing. And sleep shouldn't be a hack, but because we've taken it for granted for so many years, that's why I'm actually putting it in the hack category, because it's literally that important. Remember, sleep is more important than diet and exercise when it comes to your health and well-being. All right, let's go from there. So how do you optimize your sleep? Because that's what we're talking about here, optimizing your sleep. We all sleep. Some people do it really well. I bet you never knew there was a category of how well do you sleep, but there is. Some people do it really well, and some people can definitely improve on their sleep patterns or their sleep, their overall sleep quality. So there's certain things that we can do. Number one thing that you can do to make sure that you start to optimize your sleep, because you're going to optimize your health in every single way possible, is you need to decide that you're going to do it. Yeah, don't just listen to me and sort of, whatever, I'll get around to it. No, you need to decide you're going to do it. Like anything in life. At some point in time, you decided to start to be a part of Bridget's Healthy Kitchen regularly because you wanted to make sure that your health improves. This is another way. Yes, I'm taking care of our diet because it's delicious and fun, and this is what we do, right? But now you can decide whether you want to start taking care of your sleep. Remember, it's more important than diet and exercise, which is crazy. And when you're sleeping well, your diet's going to improve and your exercise is going to improve because you've got more energy. Goes without saying, right? So you need to decide you're going to do it. You need to take responsibility, and you need to fully understand how important this step is in your overall health and wellness. Think about your own sleep patterns, and you'll be able to even give yourself a score, 1 to 5. How well do you sleep? I'm not saying that you're going to be doing this all the time, because there are circumstances where our sleep is disrupted. But if you're getting regularly good quality sleep more often than not, your health will just always be better. It will be. Like, seriously, it will be. So, firstly, you need to decide you're going to do it, and you need to take responsibility. No one can sleep for you. That's pretty obvious. But no one can sleep for you. It's up to you. So you need to take responsibility for your sleep, because it's you and you alone. That's number 1. Number 2 that you need to do, and stop saying sleep is not important, because we come from the society where it's really like, oh, I work all the time, a workaholic society. I'll sleep when I'm dead, all those sort of things. Sleep is for wimps. Rubbish. That is rubbish. That is absolute garbage. Sleep is not for wimps. Sleep is for smart people who want to have good health. So take responsibility for your sleep patterns, and remember how important sleep is. So that's the first thing. The second thing we need to do is we need to protect that melatonin production. So we talked about how important melatonin is and what melatonin does. It makes us sleepy. Now we need to protect that melatonin production. We need to ensure that we're getting the right amount of melatonin. You don't have to measure it, but when you're not getting enough melatonin. So how do we protect our melatonin production? The first thing that we need to be aware of is melatonin is directly influenced by light. I'm just talking about light. So melatonin is only produced exclusively in darkness. So at night, or in a dark room, if you're a shift worker and you've got blackout curtains so it feels like dark, melatonin is exclusively produced in darkness. So there needs to be that time of when your body is in darkness. Yeah, really, really important to produce the melatonin. So there's certain things that stop darkness. Some of those things are artificial lights, and we live under lights in homes. So that's us now artificially changing the natural environment. So think about one of the steps that I do when it starts to get dark. I don't have bright lights going on. I literally create in our home, this is downstairs when we're like having dinner or just kind of hanging out and with the kids, I make sure to have ambient, soft, gentle lighting. As soon as it starts getting dark, I mimic what's happening outside. I don't sit under these bright lights. I turn off I've got recessed lighting. I turn off all the recessed lighting above, and I put really nice, soft, glowing lamps on around the house, so that we've constantly got this beautiful, soft ambient light as opposed to stark artificial light. So that's the first thing, is if you can start to manage the lighting in your house, because I know you're not going to be walking around in the dark, you're still going to have some lights, just don't have the bright lights on. Start to mimic the fact that it's coming into dusk, and as it comes dusk, it becomes dark. So that's really important, that we start to create that energy in our house that is our lights dimming down. That's really important. The other thing that you need to think about is the light that is emitted from our devices, and I've spoken about this before as well. So TV gives off a blue light. Our phone, our laptops, our tablets, they all give off this blue light, and blue light is artificial light. And it's the whole thing. Remember, melatonin does not get produced during light times. So in order for us to start even feeling sleepy, we need to reduce that blue light that we're exposed to. So some people wear blue blockers, which are a type of glasses, which you can purchase. Just Google blue blockers. But another really easy step that you can do without having to spend any money is you can restrict your screen time when you're before you go to bed. So they reckon between 90 minutes to 2 hours, 90 to 120 minutes before your normal bedtime is when you start to reduce the amount of blue light that you're exposed to. So whether it's turning off the TV or making sure that you put your night, you get a night light, especially on phones and tablets now, that actually goes into a duller phase, so you're less exposed to blue light. That's going to help you to start to produce melatonin, which is going to start to make you sleepy. So that's really, really important. The other thing is things like stimulants, like caffeine. Even there's caffeine in tea as well. So reducing the amount of caffeine you have before your normal bedtime. So I actually stopped drinking coffee. My last coffee I will have is at lunchtime. I don't drink any coffee after lunchtime. Now, I'm not a shift worker, so for me, I'm like a normal, wake up when it's light and start getting sleepy when it's dark. I'm that person. But I do not have any caffeine after lunchtime, because too much caffeine will obviously keep you up. You know that, and you will not be producing as much melatonin because the caffeine is stimulating to keep you awake. So stimulants for me are really important to keep to a minimum, and also having that wind down period. So if you I know a lot of us do go to take our phone to bed, take our phone to bed. Make sure you've got that light on it to get rid of as much blue light. If you are starting to take this really seriously, then you want to think about reducing your screen time before you go to sleep. The best thing you can do, either hang out with your family, read a book, all that old school stuff, do some knitting, whatever it is that keeps you away from your screen and keeps you away from that artificial light. Yeah, so that's how we can protect our melatonin production. Really important. The other thing that's really important, this is my number 3 on my list, is consistency of bedtime. So having a routine, and you may not even be aware that this is important, or you may not even be aware that you maybe already have a routine where you're like, yeah, I generally go to sleep at the same time. That is really, really important. I know we can't always do it, but if we can do it more often than not, this is going to improve the quality of our sleep. So having that consistency of bedtime, meaning what we're doing is we are setting our circadian rhythm, which is like our cycle, and everything in life moves on a cycle. So we're awake, and we're awake, and then we get sleepy, and then we sleep, and then we wake up again, and it keeps on going around like this, right? This is a cycle. We need to protect our circadian rhythm, our circadian cycle, which means that we do things at a very similar time frame, and we do it consistently as we can, we do that. So the importance of that circadian cycle, and this is really important for insomniacs or people who who struggle sleeping to a pattern. It's about resetting their circadian cycle, and there is so much to go into when it comes to insomnia. I'm not going to get into it today because we could do literally a whole Q&A on it. What I am going to suggest, if you really, 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 really struggle with sleeping and staying asleep and getting quality sleep, and you would consider yourself an insomniac, you either will seek help from a professional sleep doctor, and they are out there, Google it, or there are certain books, really, really good books that you can read. There is one, I'm hoping Mahi will find it for us, it's about the circadian rhythm, and I suggest it's an Amazon book. I haven't seen it here in Australia. You might be able to get it on Booktopia, I'm not sure. I'll see if Mahi can throw up a link for you guys. This book will help you to reset, because that's what's off for insomniacs. There could be other issues, but that is a really important thing to look at, and it's a natural thing to look at. It doesn't involve any drugs or any artificial, ways of trying to get you to sleep in a better cycle. But this is really going to help.
That one?
Yes, the Circadian Code is what it's called. It's on Booktopia. If anyone wants to have a look at it, Booktopia or Amazon. Panda. Yeah, Sachin Panda. Panda is in, panda. Is the author. You can also find him on YouTube if you want to Google the circadian cycle and go onto YouTube. There is some amazing webinars that he has done that can help you there. And as I was saying, it's such a big category to talk about. We're not going to discuss it here because I think it is definitely a specialized area. I'm talking to people who, like myself, didn't realize how important sleep is. This is for us, but if you are really suffering, or even not, I just suggest you pick up that book, The Circadian Code by Dr. Sachin Panda. It is life-changing in terms of how important this sleep is for us. So consistency of bedtime, getting into that routine. Now, the routine is different for all of us. And I'm not going to say there's a one-size-fits-all when it comes to this, because we all have competing priorities. Our days are all set up completely differently. Some of us are shift workers. Some of us, work 9 to 5. Some of us work from home. Some of us work from home. Between myself and Mahi, our sleep routine is completely different. Completely different. And we live in the same home, and we both work from home. We both work from our same space. We live in the same home, of course we do. We live together, we are married, but our sleep patterns could not be more different. And one of the things that you can do for yourself to start to get yourself into a sleep pattern, if you're thinking to yourself, I could potentially do better here, one of the really cool ways that you can work out what sleep means to you is do your own little sleep study. So as I was saying, me and Mahi are completely different in terms of the amount of sleep that we need. He can exist on less sleep than I can. And the way that you need, because you always hear this, right? People say, oh, you've got to get at least 8 hours of sleep a night. That's not true. As I was saying, one size does not fit all. You need to do a bit your own little sleep study to work out how much sleep do you need to function like a human being, a happy human being every day. How much sleep do you need? Me and Mahi need completely different amounts of sleep. I need more. He can actually function on as a human being on less. So the way that you can work out how much sleep you need is when you don't have obviously an important meeting in the morning, or you're rushing off to somewhere or work or whatever it is, at night or whenever you normally sleep, go to sleep, try that little bedtime routine of, shutting down and making sure the lights are dimmer and setting that lovely environment so that your melatonin is increasing, your melatonin production. So start doing with that. And then don't set an alarm for the next day. Like, have a bit of an idea as you're getting into la la land of when you might nod off. And then take notice of the time you naturally wake up in the morning without an alarm and work out how many hours that was. Now, you need to do that a couple of times. And what you'll find is, there's a bit of a pattern on how many hours you sleep without being woken up. I know this, for some people, this could be hard. There could be kids. For me, it's animals getting hungry. So it might take you a few days to get that natural alarm clock, your own natural alarm clock working. But this will give you an idea of actually how much sleep you need. And we are all different. I need between 7.5 to 8 hours. That is my sweet spot. Mahi can get away with about 6.5. That's his sweet spot. And he's like a completely normal human being the next day. You give me 6.5 hours and I'm like, I'm a witch. In fact, guess what my nickname is? When I was young growing up, my nickname was Witch. There you go, little factoid for you guys. Because I'm a nightmare to be around if I haven't had my sweet spot. And you need to find out what your sweet spot is. So once you've found out what your sweet spot is, you can begin to set your routine better. If you know you need 8 hours and your day has to start at 7 a.m. every morning because you get up, you get ready, you do your things, you get the kids ready, or whatever it is, you need to get up at 7 a.m., you know that you need to be asleep by 11 p.m. every single night to get your sweet spot. So that's why it's important to do this little study, because you may know already what your sweet spot is. I only know because I did that study myself like a couple months ago and just went, I need 7.5 to 8 hours. That is my sweet spot. That's when I wake up feeling like I'm on fire, in a good way, on fire. So do your little sleep study, whenever you can, and find out what your sweet spot is. And then work backwards and go, okay, I need my 8 hours, so I need to be asleep by 11. Not getting into bed, you need to be asleep by 11, which means your wind down period needs to happen by about 9:30. 9:30 at the latest, you start your wind down period to make sure come 11 o'clock, you are in dreamland. So it's such a cool thing to do. And what I found when I did my little sweet spot study is I felt liberated. No longer was I kind of questioning, like, I feel like garbage, I feel like rubbish today, yeah, I probably didn't sleep very well. I know I didn't sleep very well because I didn't get my sweet spot of sleep. So everyone's different. And like I said, once you know what your sweet spot is, just work backwards from there and you get your bedtime routine in order. So I think that's number 3. Have your routine, do your sleep study on yourself. If there's someone in your house that needs to do the study, tell them this information and get them to do it as well. It will liberate you. Seriously liberate you. So once you've done your sleep study, there's some other little things that you can do to help to improve your quality of sleep. Notice I'm not talking about how much sleep you get, it's quality of sleep. So you know about all the hormones. You know about a routine. You know about a sleep study. You also know how important it is to have that consistency of bedtime. Consistency of bedtime as much as possible. There's other little tricks that you can do to help you to have good quality sleep. And that is the temperature that you're sleeping in. If you are able to set the temperature, I'm not saying you need to leave your AC on all night, but you need to really think about the temperature, the ambient temperature in the space where you sleep, where you spend, whether it's bed or maybe you sleep on the couch or wherever it is you're sleeping. What is the ambient temperature? If the temperature is too hot, you will not be getting quality sleep. Our bodies actually benefit more from being a little bit cooler when we sleep. And I think the temperature's around about 20 to 21 degrees Celsius, that is. Sorry, I don't know what the Fahrenheit equivalent is for that. So when we are sleeping at the right temperature, not too hot, we're getting better quality sleep as well. So I always thought that, you completely cover yourself with blankets and it's all over your head and stuff like that. Yeah, that's great if it's -5 outside. But, if it's not that cold, and this is what I've learned, I actually sleep with less blankets now because I would rather not be over hot and sweaty than being just that little bit. It's not even, I'm not cold. I'm just sleeping really, really well. So think about the type of blankets you're putting on, whether you're putting on too much, whether you're sleeping in a really hot environment, and if you can cool down that environment at all, because your sleep will improve when the temperature is decreased. Remember that sweet spot of temperature around about 20, 21 degrees, which is comfortable. It's definitely not cold. And the other thing is, I actually find that now that I'm healthier, I don't get as cold as I used to. So, which is weird. I have less fat on my body, but I'm warmer. And the reason I'm warmer is because my body is able to produce energy better. I'm no longer using glucose to produce energy, which is what you get from food. I'm actually using my fat, my adipose fat, my brown fat tissue to produce energy, which is amazing, right? Such a contradiction. I always thought, when I was fat, I was like, at least I've got, warmth, I've got, layers to keep me warm. It's not true. We're actually better at producing warmth for our body when we are healthier and when we have less fat on our body. Just complete contradiction of terms. But that's the other thing, is I find that I'm warmer than I used to be. I used to be the coldest person ever. Not internally, externally. I was always a warm person, but I was freezing, freezing all the time. And in the last, especially like this year, I've noticed as I've begun to understand how my body really operates, as opposed to just kind of guessing my way through it. As I've begun to do that, I have realized that I'm not as cold as I used to be. I require less clothing and less, yes, I've got a scarf on today, but only because it's cool. Not because I'm cold. It's a complete fashion statement. It's nothing but a fashion statement. But yes, I'm not as cold as I used to be. And it really blows me away because I always thought I was just, I didn't realize there was a science behind why I was feeling so cold all the time. So temperature in the room, really important. The other thing, which is a complete contradiction of terms, because I know that I said that in order to produce melatonin, we've got to be in darkness. That's when you produce melatonin. But it's also really important to set that circadian rhythm, to keep us in the cycle of getting direct light exposure during the day. So if you're able to, and I know this may be a little bit difficult, but especially if you do suffer from really bad sleep, bad quality sleep, one really cool thing to do is when you first wake up, like in the first hour, first 20 minutes if you can, is actually get direct sunlight exposure or direct exposure to outside light. I'm not talking about sitting on your near a window. I'm not talking about sitting in your car, on the windscreen. I'm not even talking about sitting under your porch. You got to go outside and get direct light exposure onto your skin. And if you can do that for 20 minutes, you are literally setting your circadian rhythm. You're saying, and now it's time to be awake. Crazy, I know, but true. So if you can do that in the first hour of when you wake up, you actually go outside. It might be you go for a walk, maybe you hang up the washing, maybe you just sit outside and have your morning cup of dandy chai or black coffee outside instead of doing it inside. you will be helping to keep your circadian cycle in order, because your body and your brain is going, right, ain't going to be producing any more melatonin because it's light time. And you get so much more exposure of light to your skin when you do it directly. You get bugger all from artificial light, not even worth talking about. You have to go outside, which is not a bad thing because we're in nature. So it's also a really good thing as well. So at least 20 minutes if you can. First hour that you wake up, go outside, go for a walk, do something. Just do something, but be outside in the natural. Doesn't have to be sun, just has to be light exposure. It can be a cloudy day, but you're getting light exposure onto the skin, and your body knows, your hormones know it's time to be awake. Shuts off that melatonin completely. You'll find that 20 minutes that you spend outside having your morning hot drink or whatever it is, you'll find that you suddenly are like fully awake because your body has completely shut down that melatonin. Completely shut it down, and now it's time to be awake, which is fantastic. So light exposure is really important. Another thing that you can do to ensure that you have good quality sleep, good quality sleep is what we're going to be talking about, is the quality of our sleep, is to make sure that you stop eating at least 2, ideally 3 hours before you go to sleep. So midnight feasting is not a great idea. And the reason it's not a great idea is, the main reason is your body has to do so much work in order to digest any of the food that you eat. And if you're eating late and then you're going to bed with a full stomach, especially if you're having food that is really hard to digest, like do not eat steak and then go to bed that way. Red meat, so hard for your body to work through and to digest. What is happening is your body is putting all of its energy. Yes, you might be sleeping, you're probably not going to have a very good sleep because your digestion system is going crazy trying to churn through what you just loaded into it. Hence why giving your body a gap, so you're digesting when you're awake, and then when you're sleeping, your body can go into the healing process. It's not focusing on digesting food. It can actually go into healing you. So once again, mind blown with that sort of information. Something as simple as the timing of when you eat is going to improve your sleep, which is going to improve your health. I know, right? Nuts. So think about this. I try not to eat after 7 p.m. at night. That's just, I've gotten into such a habit that sometimes we have dinner. This is complete and absolute truth. Sometimes we eat dinner at about 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Not all the time, but on the weekends we have like a really early dinner, and then I will stop eating by 5 o'clock, and then won't go to bed till about 11. But my body has fully already digested what's inside of there, so I go into healing mode as soon as those eyelids close, and I go into la la land. I go into healing mode. So it's really important about the timing of when you have your last meal before you sleep. And yes, like I said, for midnight snackers, it's probably the worst thing you could possibly hear, but even a change like that, you're going to see results. So that whole idea of your digestive system and it being, not being overstressed when you are sleeping, so your body's focusing on healing all the other things that have happened during the day, that whole idea can actually be improved again. So one of the things that we do before we go to sleep is we have a teaspoon of Pure As Inulin powder before we go to sleep, because remember, inulin powder is that gut healthy prebiotic, and it will help to settle your gut as well. So not only are we not eating, but we're finishing off with a really gut healthy prebiotic before we go to bed, and our gut is able to be really settled and relaxed while we're sleeping, so our body can focus on healing other things that may be happening in our body at the same time. So really, really cool little trick. It's just a teaspoon of inulin before you go to bed. Literally the last thing you do before you go to bed, and your body's going to go into a lovely restorative gut healing mode as well while you're sleeping. So as well as that, pretty obvious thing is try not to nap too late. If you are a napper, there is nothing wrong with napping, because remember, sleep is healing. There's nothing wrong with napping. But when are you napping? If you're napping like later in the evening or later in the afternoon, so like 4 or 5 o'clock, chances are you're then going to bed really, really late as well. We need to really take a leaf out of the style that has been happening in the Mediterranean, Latin America for so many years. They have a siesta, centuries actually. They have a siesta, so they sleep in the early afternoon, like just after lunch. They sleep, well, maybe not a heavy lunch, it's usually a light lunch. They sleep, and then they wake up, and then they have their evening as well. So think about, if you are siesta, try and do that as close to lunchtime as possible, like 12 o'clock. I'm talking about not the physical eating, but the time frame, as close as you can to the middle of the day, so that you're not upsetting your routine at the end of the day. So napping is really important. But you know, that whole premise that you can lose more weight when you sleep well, you can improve your health, your skin, your brain fog, your memory, all that sort of stuff is improved with sleep as well. Your digestion improves as well. So much importance needs to be put on the quality of sleep we have, but I know it's difficult, so it does take time and it does take practice. But it's something that you can do. It costs you nothing. It costs you nothing. It is a mind switch or a mind change, or the ability to make it important. When we must do something, when you must do something, you will go out of your way to make it happen. And that's what I'm talking about here, is that you may know some of these things anyway. You may have learned some stuff in today's Q&A, but the most important thing is that now that you've got this knowledge, what are you going to do with it? You know, what actions are you going to take? Because it will improve your health. It will. It just will. It's not it might, it will improve your health. If your goal is weight loss, it will improve your weight loss. If your goal is to have more energy, it will improve your energy. Not might, it will. If your goal is to not be so moody and not be so drained, it will improve your moods, and it will improve how you feel. It will improve your metabolic reaction to everything that happens in your day. You will find that you are less inclined to choose bad choices of food, because when you're sleepy, it's like, oh, I just don't care, I'm just going to have whatever. No, don't care. You know, all those things will improve. And yes, it will take time to work out what your sleep pattern is. Do the sleep test on yourself, the sleep study, so you know what your sweet spot is, and then begin to work backwards. So when you start to implement these strategies into your life, and I know it's the hardest thing to do, you know, everybody wants change, but just a little bit, just a little bit at a time. Hence why these types of, you know, crazy thinking, I don't try and bombard you guys with all at the same time, because change does take time, and we like to do it incrementally. If I just suddenly just threw all this stuff at you guys, you know, diet and movement and, you know, blah, 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 and sleep, you'd be like, well, overwhelmed. So it does take time. Be gentle with yourself is really important. Be really gentle with your changes. But start, because you must, because you're here, because you want to improve your health. And this will improve your health. Bottom line, it works. It's not, doesn't cost you anything. It is literally one of the most, I won't say easiest, because that's the wrong word, because, you know, you need to get in your pattern, but it is one of the most successful things that you can do without spending a single dollar to get you in the best health of your life. And that's what we're trying to do here, is to get ourselves in the best health of our life. So we make the good decisions, and we are happy, and we look amazing. And this is what we, you know, and working out what works for you. Remember, one size does not fit all. But take these nuggets, take these things that I've talked about in today's episode, and begin, just start, you know. Try it, do your sleep study. Think about your melatonin protection. Think about the lights in your home at night. Are you sitting under fluorescent lights? Are you sitting under bright lights? Can you dim your lights? Can you put on lamps instead? How much TV are you consuming? Do you have a TV in your bedroom that's on constantly, keeping you awake? Once you know your sweet spot and the time that you need to be asleep every night in order to get your necessary amount of time in, it will change your life when you start to implement these things, these actions. And like I said, they're free, which is great. All right, so that is sleep in a nutshell. Don't forget that there's that amazing book by Dr. Sanchin Panda, which is the circadian code. If you really struggle with sleep and you need to get more research, and the more research we do, knowledge is power. Everybody, knowledge is power. And when you have knowledge, you have power. So that's our sleep. But before, don't leave, because it's really important that I'm going to tell you the winner of our latest, greatest competition, which was our Mother's Day virtual high tea. So it was hashtag healthy high tea. To everyone that entered, firstly, I hope you had an amazing Mother's Day. Wherever you were in the world, whatever you were doing, I hope it was incredible for you. I hope you shared it with the people that you love. Maybe it was your fur kids. We spent time with our fur kids. I am a fur mother. I have human babies too, but I have fur babies as well. So we spent it with our kids. We spent it with our animals. We spent it together in our little family bubble. We didn't go anywhere, of course. We stayed home. We sat on the couch, and I watched ridiculous movies all day. Like I watched this. And I'm embarrassed to even say what they were. Because they were ridiculous, but that's what I wanted. I just wanted ridiculousness with our kids on the couch, right? So we watched the Bad Boys trilogy, Bad Boys 1, 2, and 3. I spent the entire time just going, this is rubbish, this is garbage, but I watched it anyway, and it was fantastic. And they made me breakfast, and then they made me lunch, and it was wonderful. So to announce the winner, and what we did, as you guys know, is we did a virtual high tea. So I asked the question, what would you serve for a healthy high tea? And so many people sent in their entries of the most fabulous food that they would cook for a healthy high tea or a healthy brunch. And it was absolutely wonderful to see everyone's creations. But there was one, there was so many that stood out. We can only offer this prize to one, and it was very, very difficult to decide who was the winner. But I was absolutely blown away by not just the quality of what she produced, but also the amount. She set up the most beautiful high tea, and she had the wonderful layers of the tiers, the cake tiers, and the most incredible spread that she put on. I'm not sure who she put it on for. She didn't say whether it was for her or whether it was for her mum or just the people that she loves in her bubble, but it was incredible. And that winner, and let me tell you what she made. Firstly I'll announce the winner. The winner is, drum roll please, not knocking over the camera this time. The winner is Emma McNulty, McNulty, Emma McNulty. I believe Emma is from New Zealand. I'm not really sure. Emma, what you win, if you were watching, Emma, you win a virtual cooking class with me and you. So me and you are going to do a one-on-one cooking class together, not in this kitchen. It'll actually be in my new kitchen. So you'll be the first one to do a virtual cooking class in my kitchen. Between you and I, we're going to decide what recipe you want to cook, and then we'll cook it together. So we'll do a cook along together. You get to have me all to yourself for however long the recipe takes. But as well as that, we're going to be seeing you at a Mother's Day prize pack. You get more from Bridget's Healthy Kitchen, which is the green book. And we're also going to be sending you 2 ebooks, 2 of my most popular ebooks, which is Bridget's Healthy Breads and Pastries and Bridget's Healthy Treats as well. So you're getting about 200 recipes there. If you've already got those, my darling, if you've already got those books and those ebooks, let us know who you can nominate, someone that you love, someone that you want to give the gift of healthy food to. Let us know who that person is, and we will send it out to them. Wherever they are in the world, they can have those as well. So that's going to be a personally signed copy of the More book. Emma, all you need to do is send us an email, admin@bridgetshealthykitchen.com. Send us an email. If Emma's not watching, we will contact Emma anyway. So congratulations to Emma. If you want to see what Emma did, go onto our private group where she shared that content, and you will see spectacular work from Emma McNulty. Like I said, I believe she's based in New Zealand, I think. I could be wrong, but I have a feeling she might be based in New Zealand. So that's our winner of our competition. It has been, like I said, it was one of my favorite. This is what she made, by the way. Emma, this is what Emma made. This is one spread. She made banoffee pie. She made the aroha bars. She had Rocky Road. She had ginger crunch maize balls. She had Afghans, and she had berry chia jam, all on her Mother's Day high tea, which was just fabulous. So Emma, congratulations. I look forward to doing a cooking class with you real soon. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting. And we'll do lots more of these coming up too, guys, by the way. I think we start to, because I now, what I know is that Facebook now do Facebook groups where you can do get Zooms. So I think moving forward, looking forward to after we've completed our move and we're all settled in and my kitchen's set up, we'll start doing some cook-alongs as well, because we can have up to 50 people in a group there, in a room, a Facebook room, and we can have a wonderful cook-along, and you can all be a part of it. And I reckon that'll be heaps of cool fun coming up. We've got lots of cool stuff coming up as well. Like, there's so many things happening. Lots of different promotions going on. Of course, you guys know August the 4th is the day that Eat Your Way Slim and Healthy goes live to the world. Please feel free to pre-purchase your copy of Eat Your Way Slim and Healthy. You can do that now. Booktopia has copies available for pre-purchase, and if you pre-purchase it now, you get the discounted rate, number one. And number two, enough people pre-purchase it, they're going to get me to come in Booktopia, and I'm going to sign all the books, so you get a personally signed copy as well. So if you want to, go and get your copy of Eat Your Way Slim and Healthy, which is our redesigned yellow book, plus an extra special chapter that I'll put in there as well, which is exciting times. But one thing before we go, not sure if you guys know this, but because we're launching Eat Your Way Slim and Healthy in August the 4th, our original yellow book, which is now going to be a collector's edition, so Bridget's Healthy Kitchen, that will stop publication and printing. So that book is now gone literally into collector's item mode. If you'd like a copy of that book, we have some copies left, and we've actually put it on special. It is currently $19.95, Mahi? $19.95
for
the yellow book. So I'm just going to confirm the price.
Yeah, for now. Yeah.
It's for now, he says. What does that mean?
Let's go with it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's $19.95. I'm pretty sure it's $19.95.
Yeah.
It's on special for $19.95. So Bridget'sCookbook.com. Is that Australian?
Oh, I can't remember.
Oh, we better confirm. Could you have a look, please? I think it's on the Facebook shop. I'm just confirming the price for you guys, so we can make sure that we get the right price. In 1 second. He's just having a look. We're stuck to his phone today because once again we've got no internet. Internet's down, of course it is. So Mahi's on his phone having a little look of the price. Anyway.
Sure, I told you.
In the meantime, as he's looking, have you seen any questions come through?
Oh, yeah, I did actually, but then now I have to go back.
Oh, he's forgotten the question. I'm putting him under pressure. I'm putting him under pressure only because it's our last cooking. Well, it's our last Q&A. I haven't done a cooking class all week because I've been packing the house up and packing the business up.
$19.95 USD.
Okay, so it's $19.95 US dollars, which is
$30 Australian?
$30 Australian at the moment. So we have reduced the price of the yellow book. Bridget's Healthy Kitchen, or Bridget'sCookbook.com, is on special, and we only have a few copies left of that book. And once it's gone, it's gone. And as we all know, it is the roadmap to health. I always say this to people: all you got to do with that book, if you want to lose weight, sleep. Yes, sleep well. Sleep well. Quality of sleep.
Oh.
If you want to lose weight, sleep well, and just eat out of that book. Like literally, just pick breakfast, lunch, and dinner out of that book. Make sure you drink enough water. You're going to lose weight. You're going to get super healthy. All right, question. Yes, Mahi.
Would taking melatonin pills regularly help?
Yes, good question. Will taking melatonin pills regularly help to improve the quality of your melatonin production? Unfortunately, it has the opposite effect. Melatonin, any type of sleeping enhancement, chemical sleeping enhancement, majority of them, I can't say all of them because I haven't looked at all of them, but the majority of them will actually decrease the quality of sleep you're getting. It will put you to sleep, but that sleep will not be quality sleep. Because what happens when you're artificially induced to sleep, whether it be with sleeping pills, or even you can get melatonin pills, or you can get a melatonin spray. What happens is you don't go through your normal sleeping cycle. So when you sleep, when you first fall asleep, you're in quite a light sleep. It takes a couple of hours to actually get into deep sleep. And when you're in deep sleep, it's very restorative to the body. So this is people who exercise a lot, who are very, very active, they have a lot more deep sleep than other people because their body needs to restore itself. And you know, your body's really clever, it knows what to do. And then once you go into deep sleep, you get into your REM sleep, which is a rapid eye movement sleep. And when you're in that REM phase of sleep, that is when your brain is in its most restorative phase of sleep. So when you're REMing, that's good for your brain. When you're in deep sleep, it's good for your body. When you are artificially affecting how you sleep by taking sleeping pills, you don't actually go through your normal sleep cycle. So you don't get that normal amount of light, deep, and REM all mixed up. A lot of times you're just comatose, and your body actually is not going into such a restorative phase as possible. So if you can, and you really want to nail this sleeping, and it is important that you do nail it for your health and for your wellness and for your longevity, if you really want to nail it, you want to learn to sleep without the need to artificially enhance the production of your hormones, if you can. Now, I know that everyone's different. Like I said, one size doesn't fit all. If you're really concerned about it, I would definitely suggest you see a sleep doctor, someone who specializes in sleep, and they do exist. Just Google it. They exist, and they're amazing, because this is what they focus on, is sleep. Being a sleep doctor, of course. Not me, but them. So in a short, long answer, taking melatonin is not ideal, because you want to allow your body to produce it naturally, because the natural production of melatonin is also going to help to balance those other hormones that we talked about, which is leptin, which remember, leptin is the one that tells you that you're full. Stop eating now, because leptin's going, I'm here and there's enough food and I'm good and I'm feeling satisfied. And it will also control your ghrelin hormone, which is the one that makes you feel hungry, which is the one we don't want. We want to decrease our ghrelin. And melatonin, your natural production of melatonin, will also help to control your cortisol levels as well. Because remember, cortisol levels is our stress hormone, and our stress hormone is most active when we first wake up in the morning, and we want to make sure that that balances itself out as quickly as possible, not going from one stressed out situation to another, but keeping ourselves calm, having that wonderful routine in the morning, getting outside and getting that 20 minutes of direct sunlight onto your body is really important as well. Do we have any other questions, Mahi?
No, that's it.
That's it? Well, that's wonderful. As I said, guys, the end of an era. This is the last time. Bit sad, but not, because change is good. Change is good when it's good change, right? And we all have to embrace change when it happens. And, just I've learned a lot in the last couple of months to really roll with the punches. We all have, every single person in the world. No one has not been affected by the pandemic. No one has not been affected by lockdown laws or people being sick or just our lives changing in general. Everyone's been affected. Some of us have had more things to deal with than others. Some of us, I feel that I'm quite fortunate that, no one in my direct family has been sick has contracted COVID-19. I feel very, very, very fortunate about that. I have not, to my knowledge, lost a loved one from this awful, awful disease virus that is ripping through the world. But I've had my other challenges. We've had some massive challenges with the health of our son, who was so incredibly sick, and now he's back in this house, not for long. We're going to take him to another house, and the improvement that his life is going to have as we move on to the next space is going to dramatically increase as well. So our ability to be able to focus more intently on him and his needs is amazing. So we get to look after our son and make sure that he continues to be well and to thrive and get better. We also get to look after ourselves. I get to play around with a whole new space to set up, which is really exciting. I love designing stuff and putting things and all that sort of. So I'm excited about that. But it is bittersweet, because, as I was saying, this space has created what which is Bridget's Healthy Kitchen. This is where it all started. 5 cookbooks have been written, tested, loved and eaten over. And can you see the table behind me? You see the chairs there. Every single photograph you've pretty much ever seen from Bridget's Healthy Kitchen. Every cookbook has been photographed right there on that space, on that table. Every single photograph in my book comes from that table, from that space here. So the creative juices that have been present in this space has been absolutely life transforming for myself and for Mahi. So, you know, we are sad. We're really sad, and the kids are sad to leave. You know, we've been here for a long time, but it's time to move on, and it's time to improve and to start to, you know, it's the whole idea about just those little incremental improvements are going to make such an overall improvement to the way that we do things. So I'm excited for what's about to happen. I am sad to be leaving my kitchen, but at the same time, you know, onwards and upwards to better and more amazing and more exciting things that are coming really soon for all of us. You as well. I do this for you guys too. So thank you for joining me on our last Q&A from Bridget's Kitchen. Can't wait to show you Bridget's new kitchen. Sometime next week, I will do a live video. I promise. I promise I will take photos and I'll do a live video next week when we, you know, have some stuff to put inside the house and we've moved from this house to that house. We'll do all of that, and I look forward to hopefully the lockdown's going to end soon, and we're going to start to travel as well. So as soon as we get some domestic travel happening, we're going to start to do some stuff. Once we get the big green light from Australia and New Zealand, we're going to start with that definitely. So I'm looking forward to seeing you guys all in person real soon and giving you a fist pump. All right, guys, take care. Thank you for joining me on today's episode, and I can't wait to show you the new Bridget's Kitchen coming up really soon. Take care, everyone. Please be safe. Remember, keep calm, keep on cooking.